Even though we have a social norm that it is a poor nation, developing nation, and overpopulated nation, which how the Western media usually propagates. On contrary to that, we now took the spot from China, which means the most populated nation in the world can also turn into asset. Why? Because of the labor force are under the age of 15 to 40, and all these age groups of people are highly educated and literate, which means the use of better technology, invention, and channeling of money happens. In other words, lot of investments will happen, lot of innovations will happen, lot of channeling of money will happen. In other words, more profit will happen. In other words, more tax. So overall, the GDP of our nation will skyrocket. Now, if you look at it, India has overtook the UK itself in terms of its size. It is said that it is calculated that in 2 decades, India will undertake almost all other nations in the world with the right leaders. Also, in another 2 decades, India will have a better purchasing power, almost 40% than that of US. So why do you think India will fall behind? In fact, India will actually come ahead than most of the other nations. Maybe it's the Western media which actually propagates all the dirty politics, all the global agendas. Old live longer, young are not young anymore. Japan is filled with this. Almost 40% of Japan's workforce is over the age of 55. US and the other European nations are not actually far behind. 25 to 30% of their number is actually increasing. China's elderly population rate is expected to be double by the year 2030, which means the nations of this workforce is actually filled with the elder people with less energy. In other words, they are less innovative, less ambitious, less prone to take any risk. Finances are very low, which makes them in a stagnated mode. Whereas India has a very young generation with a high energy channel with one vision will make India take over the rest of the world economically. India's dispenser is spread across the world. India's tech knowledge is world class. India's family unit is very strong. India's core belief of the family ideology and the life philosophy is fundamentally very strong. India's our unity as a community is very big, whereas the rest of the world nations are actually falling behind, and India is coming up. While we are talking about the ideology, religion, belief, other nations are actually falling behind, which makes so in other words, a pack of wolves are getting separated, which makes them look weaker, which makes them prey itself. Now, if you look at China's superpower over global dominance, its youthful population that created an economic boom which increased their economy. All of a sudden, if you need something, he's your guy. China is your guy. He's the next door guy. So China has now took over the world stage, but India has a magical essence which makes the country grow even faster than China ever did. It's the labor force and the participation rate. It's another term used for the India superpower. So we are not only young, not only with high energy, with more literacy rate, also our innovative ideas and knowledge of the technology is fundamentally far more superior than the rest of the world. We are coming out with the most literacy rate. Our unit as a community is very strong. Our youth is filled with the high energy, charged in the world to seek and dominate the rest of the world. We want more now. Now, if you take this universe is very cyclical, right? Once India was such a big and massive superpower which had the most beautiful civilization in the world. Then in the 10th, 11th and 12th century, Mongolians came. Where are they now? So everything is cyclical. Then Ottomans came. They ruled for some time, they also gone. Then Britishers came. They also ruled and they also gone. Now if you look at it in a very macro way through a wider telescope from a big angle from the solar system, you see that India is also going in a circulatory motion, which means it's the era of it's the Indian century is that of right now. So India will come up economically and also in many other aspects. So if this era is actually India era, India will come up as one of the most global and superpower in the world.
शक्ति